Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to the War of the Triple Alliance, also known as the Great Paraguayan War. Now, I was going to actually put a poll up to see which you wanted me to play as Paraguay or the Triple Alliance, aka Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil. However, I think it's actually going to be more fun that we play as the Triple Alliance because we are going to be the ones that have to attack and capture territory. Paraguay really just has to turtle, stay put, and be as defensive-minded as possible. And this is going to be sort of the first look at the actual battlefield itself. The very southern part of Paraguay here. We're at Tuyutsi. We've got all of the armies here ready to go. Let's see if we can't stop this dictator. And I forget the guy's name, but it's actually about to tell us in the history report. So let's take a look. But we need to break through this first part. And guys, if you think this is all we have to deal with, you are sorely mistaken. Despite Paraguay being, a small country in comparison to Argentina and Brazil, it's got really, really good defenses, number one. Also, it has Napoleonic-era weaponry. At a time when Napoleonic-era weaponry was the top of the food chain. It really was, really gave your army a huge bonus. And as you could see, they were also quite good at constructing these fortifications. And they had many, many fortifications. Not to mention, during the war, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but Argentina actually had a coup d'etat, which meant that the Argentine troops had to leave the war in the middle of it. It gets pretty dicey. So, I used to think or look at this war as like a really simple, Paraguay trying to take over the world thing, but actually it's much more complicated than that, and Paraguay could have actually won this conflict. You're going to see that as we play, of course, as the Triple Alliance. Again, Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina. William Blowers. Virgin El Presidente versus the Chad Emperor. Yes, exactly. And here we go. After more than a year of war, the combined forces of the Triple Alliance have finally set foot on Paraguayan soil. We must now confront Marshal Lopez. That's his name. Yes, El Generalissimo Lopez. Kind of a dictator. That being said, Citadel of Humaita, said to be the strongest fortress in South America. Now, we did actually have a victory on the sea, quite a dramatic victory. But now, of course, we move to the land, and I just want to show you guys what we have to get through. We got to get through all this, and we got to get all the way over here to Humaita. Now, we have a base of operations right over here across the Parana River. Of course, I'm going to try to bring in as many folks as possible, but right now I'm just going to start getting these riverboats, sending them up here, because I want to start engaging any enemy units over there at Chuhi. Get some more of these riverboats coming up. And we're just going to have to get real aggressive here. I see a chance at breaking through here, but let's try here first. Try to soften them up with some artillery fire. Not bad. We can actually try out these Uruguayan troops, and it's the Oriental Brigade. I'd like to fall back with this unit and actually get another one in here. So let's pull him back over here to this small river and try and get some more Brazilian troops in to finish the job. And there we go. Destroyed a Paraguayan army. Not too bad. Not too shabby. I want to keep on pushing through if I can. Grab that zone of control. And I think I'm going to go straight for the artillery, or we could go straight for this unit. I figure going for the artillery is the right decision. Get rid of that supporting fire. And I'm just going to cycle out the troops. I know we're going to lose a lot of guys over here at Lagoa Piers. It's a really swampy area, and it's not ideal for attack. But I want to do anything I can to weaken that force right there. So I'm just going to keep on hitting it. And hopefully the 20th Battalion will crumble. Same thing over here. I'd like to go ahead and just open fire first on it. Just a few artillery shots. Nice lucky shot there. We also have to be careful because if you look on our right side here, the Paraguayans are trying to outflank us a bit. And I don't like that one bit. I'm going to pop this troop over here, try and bring this unit in right there and go for the attack. We might be able to destroy yet another enemy army as long as we can get this unit into that zone of control. Now, what I am going to do, just send the cavalry out. I'm really making room for the rest of the men. You can see when they're crossing the river there, even if they're crossing on a bridge tile, it's going to be a lot easier to do damage to them. Cheers, Fumbles. I hope you enjoy. We are playing as the Triple Alliance in this one. All right, let's see. I want to move in there. Let's get this fella out. And there we go. 2 Paraguayan armies destroyed. Not too bad at all. And I'm going to take that zone of control. So again, we're just moving past the swamps here, taking those fortifications. I don't blame the enemy. I think they just don't have enough men to hold us back for now. So hopefully this will be a pretty quick operation, just getting through this initial defense. But that's just Tuyuti. As you guys can see, there are plenty more places we got to break through. And I'm not even looking over here in the jungle where we could sort of work our way up this way and, you know, come in from that location. Although that seems like would be really tough to do and then go west. I don't know. I'm considering it because we could, of course, flank the enemy if we do it. To see if we can reinforce this troop. Not yet. All right, let's move out of Paso de Patria and keep on hitting these weaker units. Got to put this dictator in his place. So that time they were waiting for us in the trenches. We managed to actually come out pretty well despite the odds. But that's just an example of how the enemy could use those forces against us. Ooh, that's not looking good. Right, I want to make sure we bring up these Brazilian reinforcements as well. Just start moving up. And I'll also get that other riverboat and start heading... I guess we don't really need it over here. I don't suspect they're going to have any units there. So we're just going to start heading northwest up the river. So, the name of the war is the War of the Triple Alliance. Some people know it as the Great Paraguayan War or the Great South American War. So this war is between Paraguay, and basically this is a time when Paraguay had a ruler, and let me be clear here, I am not a historian, but from my understanding, they had a ruler that was obsessed with Napoleon III, obsessed with Napoleonic tactics, and so he sort of wanted to almost have a Napoleonic war within South America. So he was sort of a marshal, a generalissimo type, and so it started this massive war. Now, the thing about Paraguay, if you see, it's got a lot of very heavily defended cities and a lot of water, just marshland all around the country. So you can defend this country pretty damn well. So these 3 superpowers had, or 2 superpowers in one, and Uruguay, had a real tough time beating this guy. And that's what we're doing right now. And yeah, it's a real war, as strange as it is. I'm also not too familiar with South American history, much to my chagrin. So it's kind of like a history lesson for me as well. Purchase additional units here. Let's get some more brigades. I'd love some more field artillery. But I think right now my main goal is some more brigades. So let's do that, some Brazilian brigades and a cavalry regiment just to get past the lines. And I believe the Argentinians can also get another brigade there pretty soon. All right, let's end the turn. Guaycuru Indians clash with allied soldiers in the Chaco. So the natives of the area were supportive of Paraguay. They would regularly attack people, try and damage them. And if I'm not mistaken, if somebody can look this up, I'm pretty sure if it's Paraguay or Uruguay is one of the only South American countries where Spanish is not the only primary language. I think it's Guayaquil is the name. Somebody's got to look it up. Kandiru, might be Kandiru. They speak a certain, language, I guess, a native language, as a secondary language in the country. I'm pretty sure Spanish is still primary there. Paraguay is an interesting place. Hell, all of these are interesting as hell. Chile, Peru, and Bolivia denounced the Treaty of the Triple Alliance. So, despite not coming directly to the aid of Paraguay, they would offer Paraguay arms, things like that. But they did not like this. You know, they didn't like the fact that Argentina and Brazil were going to go to war here and try to shut this dictator down. Now, of course, this is it's not a nuanced view of this situation at all, because it's far more complicated than that. Now, let's get through with the cavalry there. And I think I'm going to try to go for this Estero area. I don't like the fact that they've got units over here in Costa Parana, so I'm going to just chase them. Most of the area over here, Costa Parana, etc., this is all rainforest, so it's not really strategically beneficial. We're going to focus on the western side of Tuiuti there. Look at that, man. The 16th Brigade, Brazilian 16th Brigade, incredible work there. Guarani, that's it. Guarani, thank you. That's what it is. Yep. I've found that so fascinating. Again, I'm very sure. In fact, I'm almost certain that Spanish is still the most spoken language there, but I know that Guarani is a close second, and it's a very interesting little fact there, little factoid. Reinforce. We're gonna reinforce our Brazilian units, and I'm just rushing through, just trying to close off any supply to him at all, and any units that I can reinforce here, I will. Though I think we're gonna have to get them out of the jungle first. So, hopefully, Tuiuti here is crumbling. It looks like it is. I'm just going to check. And, of course, they've got more units waiting. But they're going to have to fall back to their secondary defensive line, which is going to be the Curupati. And then, eventually, over there to Humaita. That is the largest fortress in South America. It's absolutely massive. Here we go. Forza para frente. Also take these riverboats and just start destroying any Paraguayan ships that could be a threat. And I'm already spotting one right there. You bet we're going to start firing. And we've got ironclads, but despite that, the Paraguayan ships are quite useful, number one. And the captains here are very, very good. So they're still managing to damage these ironclads where other wooden ships would fail miserably. Let's start heading back with these units, perhaps. Or actually, we could do this. Just boom, and shattered. The 20th Battalion shattered and surrendered. And we are getting closer and closer to Tuiuti here. Yes, you're absolutely right. I like that name, by the way. The Great Bum Bean. I like it. Babe, you're a bum. You're just a fat guy that knows how to hit a ball. It's true, but he's good at it. He was good at it. All right, let's see. Can we get over here with the cavalry? I think so. Just want to kind of harass that unit, make sure that they can't escape easily. And I don't think they're going to be able to escape, as a matter of fact. Let's push up. All right, we're in that zone of control. It's a little tedious over here. Actually, no, I'll go for the attack. Hold on. Might be able to bring in these Argentinian troops for a strike. Let's see if that works. Yep. Again, they're all pretty weak over here, and that's the idea. Although I would like this line to be a little cleaner. Like, sending that unit over there would probably be a good move. We could also fall back with this guy and attack with the 7. So that's what I'm going to do. Boom. And again, destroyed yet another army there. Of course, we're going to have to take a turn here just to allow these guys to recuperate. I mean, we have been losing quite a lot of men on our side, despite doing a tremendous amount of damage there. I'd like to bring in this Uruguayan cavalry unit all the way from Montevideo, the capital itself. I think these generals can stay here for now, but eventually we will move them out of these locations. And we can go ahead and get these other generals. Yes, we do need to use long-range amphibious transport. We could use transport, but we'd have to land in Itapiro, and I'd like to land, like, kind of off the coast here. Yeah, it's one of the South American countries where they really do respect the native culture there quite well. It's pretty awesome. Prussian forces defeat the Austrian army at the Battle of Königgrätz. Or Königgrätz, pardon me. All right, good to know. that Brazilian army is looking worse for wear. So they're falling back with that artillery, still continuing the defense. Pretty ballsy of them. I think we might even be able to get a cavalry unit behind the line over here, although that area is really tricky. Okay, guys, we've got some Argentinian troops arriving. I'm just going to start dropping them over here. Aquí. All right. And I'm going to start dropping these HQs off, just like that. Baunero as an example. What I'd like to do is get on through and hit those artillery pieces, but we've got to get these really weak units, like the 6th Brigade. They're almost shattered. We're just going to fall back with them entirely. Look at that. Cavalry against cavalry. It's time for the Montevideo Cavalry Regiment to shine here. And some pretty nice defensive artillery there, maybe from 2 different cannons. It's going to hurt. Yep, 3 damage. Fall back from that. I want to get the Brazilian infantry in there quickly. And we're risking them, but I really want to take out that cavalry unit, just so they're not a threat at all anymore. You could see some of our units, like this one right here, are badly damaged. But we can actually reinforce them all the way up to perfect here. So I'm going to do just that. Also continue to attack these cavalry units, harass them. Worst case, they get away, but they're still going to have to reinforce the unit, so I consider that a victory. And, you know what? We'll also get in here into Estero Niembu. And boom, destroyed a cavalry army. Now, they do still have supplies coming in from the north. This is the beauty of the Paraguayan defense, is not only do they have these marshes and these fortifications to stop our armies, but even if we cut off all the supply over here east of Yatati Kora, so if we take all this, we still need to get behind them over here. So what they're going to do is just pretty much fall back, form another defensive line. Pretty smart move. Let's reinforce the Oriental Brigade there of our Uruguayan friends. I'll also move back with this infantry unit. Get this guy in his place. And we're just going to start reinforcing these fellows who went chasing that other unit. I guess we could also reveal any potential forces over here in the rainforest, but I don't suspect there's anything there. We'll just for your curiosity and my own, we'll go ahead and move in there with one of the armies. And you can see they are reinforcing that army over there at Costa Paraná. So they absolutely understand the importance of keeping that army alive. And I'm just going to cut off all the territory going up to them. And we're just going to keep attacking them. I want to make sure we don't have a unit on our flank. That could, of course, turn into a real problem for us later on. Not the best reinforcement ever, but I'll take that. Especially if we can destroy that cavalry unit. That's what I'm looking for. And this is actually why it would be great to have some more cavalry. They can get in there really quickly. Almost the equivalent of light vehicles. And just smash the artillery. It's going to be quite helpful for us. Make sure to get this general out as well. Now, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send one of our boats up here to Ilha des Pomores and actually to the Carutsu fort. I'll just wait here just in case he sends any more ships southwards. I don't want him stopping our troop transports because eventually we're going to be dropping troops off over here. And I want to get right up to the coast here. In fact, what I'd like to do is actually go into this inlet over here in the Paraguay River and drop them right there. So behind the enemy. Hey, not bad. Got him down to a 3, which isn't too bad at all. Of course, I'd like to do another attack. And I believe I'm just going to have to wait till next turn. Although we are closing a lot of these guys off. For instance, they are not going to be getting any supplies whatsoever. But I sure would like some additional reinforcements. All right, I think that's all we can do. Get another brigade from our Brazilian friends and our Argentinian friends. We have to keep in mind, though, and it's a little bit of cheating to know this. Well, not really, not if you're familiar with history, but there is a coup that happens in Argentina. And once that coup occurs in Argentina, a whole bunch of our Argentinian troops are going to need to go back to the country and leave this war, which, of course, leaves us as Brazil kind of high and dry. Uruguay does offer troops, but there's just not that many that they can offer, unfortunately, being a much smaller country. Oh, it is great for amphibious landings, 100%. And again, getting behind those fortifications and landing troops works wonders here. Of course, with these, Napoleonic wars, and this is, believe it or not, a Napoleonic war, despite it being in South America, in terms of the tactics, etc., even if you do get units behind the lines, you need that constant source of supply, That's the only downside. You've got to find a way to get that constant source of supply. So the trick is, essentially, try and get a general out there. Try and get an HQ out there. And what we're going to do, we're going to start making those amphibious transports for our Argentinian forces. And unfortunately, I don't like this element of the game, but we got to get, right up there on the coast to do those amphibious transports, and that means we got to waste a turn. Now, let's reinforce the 6th Brigade. They fought so bravely. It's time to get them back to their old fighting strength. And let's first get rid of this guy entirely. We'll do the same over here. You can see they are very weak, and this is because they are cut off. They're actually in a fortified zone, so they should be doing very well, but because they're cut off, they're going to suffer for it. Let's actually move in with the 7. Fantastic. That means I can actually continue going north with some of these other units and seeing what the enemy has. So they should have an additional unit on that side of the fortifications, but they may have retreated. Let's keep going. Interesting. Look at that. They've got an HQ in Estero Rojas. It's a little suspect, to say the least. Ataca! Now, see, another thing we can do, if we can get past this port, we can actually bring guys in to broadside them. But first, we need to get rid of any defenses at that port. So I'm just going to keep on firing at it. Keep on searching for enemies up here in the north as well. Garibaldi. Pretty Italian. I don't know. Okay, all right. Maybe an Italian community deep in the rainforest. I've heard of stranger things. All right. I doubt they would be silly enough to leave this area unguarded, but let's try and head up there to Yatati Kora. And just as I expected, yeah, they do have defenses here. Our men were pretty much massacred going up a rainforest path and coming into a Paraguayan army. Yeah, that's not easy to deal with. I'd love to catch that general off guard. I might just chase him anyway, just to see what happens. I'm actually really surprised that the AI, I quite like the AI in this game, but I'm surprised that they have some units here, because I've played this campaign before, and they had no units over here, so it goes to show you that the AI certainly performs differently each time. I like that, a little bit of originality. Start getting these cannons up. Don't like those odds. I think we're just gonna have to sacrifice some troops over there. There might not be a way out of that. Boom. Yeah, because they're really well dug in here. And that cavalry unit's actually putting up a really good defense. I'm going to take the risk. They're going to have to expel those cannon rounds, which I think will get us a chance to do some damage, but maybe not. That's scary, man. All right, there we go. A little bit of damage. Not a lot, but at least a little bit. And it's also a primary supply point, so that's probably another reason why Tucuti is such a tough nut to crack. Get them back up to 10. And you guys just have to trust me over here in the jungle. There is nothing hiding, I promise you. We're just going to fall back a little bit with that army. Now, another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get one army, just a single army, to go over here to Itakura, because we're going to drop them off and just kind of go through the jungle and take all those little jungle settlements. It's not going to count for a lot, but it'll bring in a little bit of resource points, which will then, in turn, use to defeat the enemy. Let's end that turn. That's what we get for being in the jungle. Paraguayan naval mines damage Allied shipping near Curapati. Damn. All right, so the Zacharias ministry takes power in Brazil, and I don't believe this affects the war effort much. It's the Argentinian political situation that does. The Argentine political situation, I think, is probably more appropriate. All right, a little bit of our Argentinian defensive artillery. And who knows, I might just ignore this frontal line entirely and just send some troops flanking over here. But that means getting past Yatati Kora or going all the way to the angle up there in the north. And there are troops defending the angle as well. Run away, run away. All right, here we go. I'm going to target the artillery specifically. I think that artillery is really close to crumbling. Oh, damn it. So because there is a little inlet here, we cannot attack it. We can go through, though, and attack it this way, but I didn't realize we were going to have a problem like that. And you can already see some of them have gotten across the bridge. They're all crossing to Sauce. There's no way that place is actually called Sauce. It's pronounced probably differently, but they're crossing over here, and I think we can trap the cavalry, but I'm not sure about the rest of their units. So we'll trap the cavalry here in Tucuti. And of course, Tucuti is a big defensive zone, so taking it is great, but we've got a lot of work to do. Vitoria. Let's give the Vitoria to the Uruguayan Oriental Brigade there. And that is a primary supply point. Pretty great to capture that, of course. Still a lot of work to be done, and first things first, let's wrap up the situation here at Costa Paraná. I don't really want to focus too many troops over here unless we decide to flank from up here. And I think it's really risky, but maybe worth trying. You know, maybe just worth trying. Yeah, I think we definitely need to start sending some troops east. In the meantime, any troops that are in need of reinforcements will open up some field hospitals and get some assistance to them. Let's see, there's only two areas, the angle and over here. It seems like both, I don't know. I think our best chance is just breaking on through here. Maybe our only chance. Muito bien. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. And trying to get one of the forces over in the sauce. That sounds pretty cool, in the sauce. So I'm actually going to chase that general. The odds are not in our favor, but the fact we've got a damn general just in the middle of nowhere there, I can't help but do something about it. And also, this poor cavalry unit, they're having a real tough time coming back through the jungle. It's going to take a while, folks. We should also start moving up those, our own generals here. I think they might, but I haven't faced any partisans yet. The partisans for Paraguay are the Guayaquil Indians. So it's the native people, the native American people that really put up a fight in the name of Paraguay. All right, so I can move cavalry here. Of course, look at that. And they've got their general, Barrios, right there on the front line. So I don't think they were necessarily anticipating this breakthrough. But the important thing is here, we've got a great visual on the eastern side of this coast. Almost want to, like, go up there and start attacking already. This is where we would need those amphibious landings. Get behind them at Chuhi. And look at that. We got a general right there, man. I'm getting in there. I'm opening fire on Diaz. We're just going to have to be ultra aggressive. So we're going to have to send someone across there. The same deal over here. We're going to have to attack on all fronts. I'd love to get some units here, but again, they will have people defending it. So we're going to take one of these ships. And remember, I told you we're going to leave one over there at Itakura. So to get there, we've got to go through this tiny inlet here. And with the 7th Brigade, I'm going to drop them off. I'm going to try to drop them off, guys, behind the lines. I think it's really dangerous, but it's not fun without a little bit of danger, am I right? There we go. Long-range amphibious transport. We'll do the same with these guys. Long-range amphibious transport. We might send all of these guys behind enemy lines. Just do, like, one massive amphibious attack. All right, we'll reinforce these wounded units. This guy can only reinforce a little bit. Better than nothing, though. And what I want to do is absolutely get our cannons in range of that side of the line. You can see they've got so many defenses, guys. Artillery, forts. They had a lot of Napoleon 12-pounders. A lot of weapons that other South American nations weren't able to source at the time. So, despite, again, Paraguay being small, it's a fierce little country. We'll have to call it a day there. We'll bring up the general from Porto Alegre. Yeah, I think so. I think it is. You're absolutely right. I think we still need to keep pressure on the bottleneck so that they think we'll attack through there, but we should not try to attack through the bottleneck. I will try to attack through this bottleneck if they leave artillery and a general there, but you're right. We're going to have to get behind the lines here. And in fact, I'll bring this guy back across. Not too concerned about the enemy striking us from the north there, but I believe... Yep. Abre fogo. Abrir fogo. Alright, let's end that turn. Now again, that Argentinian coup d'etat could happen at any moment. First Cavalry suffers attrition losses. The cavalry does really poorly in the jungle. Makes sense. You know, horses are not made for the jungle, obviously. The infantry, they seem to be able to tolerate it, but in this particular jungle, you know, each jungle is going to have sort of different organisms. It's actually the Argentinians and the Brazilians that suffer. The Paraguayans are sort of accustomed to this this climate. It'll also be nice to get an HQ back there. Brigada 14. Brigada 11. All right, here we go. Right up the Paraguay River. We're going to need that naval support. Otherwise, these guys are going to be at the bottom of the Paraguay River. Here we go. Not even sure we should drop this guy off yet, but you know what? I'm a stubborn bastard. Here we go. Oh, bienvenidos. All right, I got a feeling they would have something waiting for us, but that is definitely a good start. So I'm going to just try to weaken this area as much as possible. We're going to have to wait for the rest of them to arrive, of course. Let's get the cavalry out of here. So, you know what we'll do? We'll just take this opportunity to reinforce any units that are weak. And again, the closer they are to the general, the faster they'll reinforce. So we are being a bit cheap about this. Put some Bayou here and move in that force there. Yeah, it's still not looking good. We're just going to keep the forces there. We absolutely are going to need to bring in the amphibious force. I think those guys at Costa Paraná cannot hold on any longer. And we can go ahead, finish them off, and probably even bring in supplies to our cavalry there. So there we go. Costa Paraná is now in our zone of control. And you know what? I should have stayed put with that unit there, because we can probably just keep moving north and taking these other little villages. Let's see. Hopefully our cavalry will be in good shape after this. Oh, I love that. That's a lot of supply. Ataca! Precisamos de atacar. Also, please do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. That always helps us out big time. Let's go ahead and purchase some additional units. Field artillery is always great. I'm going to purchase some of that. Although an HQ is really what we need. We can always grab one of these other HQs and put them back in the water and bring them here, of course. I like that the headquarters unit of the enemy repositioned there. They probably realized not the best place to be. Again, nowhere here is a good place to be. Each reinforcement point here is a blessing, so I'm taking whatever we can get. I think it handles logistics pretty well. Again, like, if your supply gets cut off, you're finished. Paraguayan Marshal Lopez and Argentine President Mitre to meet on the battlefield. Somebody mentioned Chad President, etc. Or, sorry, Chad Marshal versus Soy President. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. Really interesting that they would meet on the battlefield. Quite honorable, you know? An honorable meeting of minds. They've got their artillery zeroed in on the units that just landed. These landings are not going to be easy, that's for sure. And Barrios is back for more. Their headquarters unit is back for more damage. All right. Abren fuego. So what I'm going to try to do is actually move them up here just to make more room. This is pretty awesome. All right, move him out, and now bring in an additional Argentine troop. I really hope that coup d'etat doesn't happen now, because we need these troops so bad. We're about to break through Chuy. Look at that, Chichi. It's just a funny name for a town. Bring in another HQ, or sorry, another unit. Look at this, guys. And that's going to be our cavalry unit, so I can actually head south a bit. Now, see, this is where I am going to continue the attack over here, because they just used up an artillery shot there. Kind of gives us an opportunity to branch out a bit. I didn't think we were going to be able to drop every single one of these units, but this is pretty awesome. Look at that. Oh my goodness. This is a hell of an idea. We could potentially be cutting off their supply entirely right here, guys. I'm going for it. It looks like they might have also fallen back at Yatati Kora. I'm just going to move up a little bit. No, they've still got defenders there. You bastards. That's okay, though. I'm going to pop this guy back out. It's a hell of a fight, isn't it? So all I'm going to do here is just make sure that the artillery is in range, but I think it's going to be our amphibious landers that are going to change the course of the battle for us, sure enough. We're getting behind that second defensive line, and the enemy is not going to be able to deal with that easily. So they didn't pull out of the war, but there was a coup, and a lot of the Argentinian troops that were in the war had to go back to Argentina. So I think their strength got cut by like 30 to 50%. And it replicates it really well in the game because you'll actually see like all the Argentine armies just get split in half pretty much. They've got to go back and stop the coup. Yeah. Make sure we don't have any more units that we can... There we go. Long-range amphibious transport. All right. Oh, that's right. Almost forgot about this guy. We're going to have to drop him off at Itacora. And again, just an additional supply point that we can grab. It's just a little native village, but, you know, every territory, a piece of territory we can take from Paraguay is going to upset the Marshal a little bit more. So I can live with that. There we go. That Belgian guy. How you doing, buddy? Sure do. I believe we played some of that armchair historian game. It's been so long since I've played it. Byron Maneuver. Yeah. Very cool little thing. All right, a few counterattacks here against our amphibious landings, and it looks like they may have fallen back with some of the units there at Yatati Kora in an effort to sort of get in front of these amphibious landings. There's that defensive artillery. That's why we brought the artillery so close. Pretty effective. Nice. I mean, their counterattack cost them a lot of men just then. All right, HQ for Brazil. And shame on me, I never got this guy on an amphibious transport. So let's just see how much damage the cavalry can do here. We're just simply trying to cut off any sort of connection. And again, this is the issue with Paraguay. Even if we cut this supply off, they've still got that supply coming through here. I mean, it's a lot to deal with. So I think what we should do, we'll get the Oriental Brigade out of here. Probably try to soften the enemy up a bit here with some shot. It's okay, they can use that defensive artillery against us, not a problem. And this way, they won't have enough defensive artillery to stop our attacks. So I'm going to just move in with this unit. We are going to take losses, but the goal is to break through. You know, to force the enemy to respond to multiple different locations. Send him through. Let's see who can get through there. There we go. That's all we needed. Now we need one of the units to actually be able to get through there. And this is where the cavalry would really come in handy. The problem is, I don't want to put a 5 cavalry unit there. I also don't want to put a 6 unit. So we're just going to send this guy through. Sauce is ours. Feels weird to say that, but sauce is ours, guys. And what I'd like now is to bring in additional forces. We need to put the pressure on these guys. Even though we might lose some units, I think it's very important we put the pressure on them. And I'm going to go crazy here and try to cut them off over here as well. But look, once again, they're still getting supplies from the angle. This is the beauty, speaking of logistics, this is the beauty of the Paraguayan logistics. They are damn good. And I am going to start pushing over here, even though it's risky. There we go. Cavalry's throwing themselves right into our arms. That's what I like to see. And let's get that guy out of the way, see if our own first cavalry can take them out. Muito buen. Mucho bien, excuse me. There we go. Managed to destroy them. Not too shabby. And I'm just going to reinforce these units. Won't necessarily break through there, but it's good to see that we have the opportunity to do just that. Yeah, that fort looks impenetrable. I'm not going to take the risk for now. What I will do is just send one of these units over here to Kurusu to sort of keep an eye on that river in case one of them tries to break through and attack our ships there. We don't need that. And indeed, that Brazilian unit was just fine. However, I'm going to move on through with this infantry unit, and I'm just going to try to get the cavalry unit back to a town. Once he's back in Costa Paraná, he's going to be just fine. I'm just hoping we can hold this, or continue this push through. Seeing if I can reinforce anybody. So I'm not sure this is going to make a huge amount of difference, but we're about to find out. Cutting the enemy off like this. And of course, next turn, we'll be able to bring in additional forces. Let's also continue through the jungle with that unit there, the 8th Brigade. Potentially, if you ignore the malaria and jungle fever and such, this is potentially the luckiest unit of the entire war, because they're not going to come into conflict with anybody. They might get hassled by Guayaquil Indians a bit, but that's really all. Oh boy, we got rain coming in. It is monsoon season. So there we go. You can already see them starting to fall back from that position because it's untenable. They can't hold it. We're starting to cut them off, but they're still putting up a pretty good fight. And we don't have any HQ unit here to bring supplies in or to reinforce existing units. So we've got to play it pretty safe. U.S. Minister to Paraguay C.A. Washburn returns to Asunción. Okay. Neither here nor there, really. Vamos a atacar. I hate to have to attack that fortress, but I think that's exactly what we're going to have to do. It looks like a pretty imposing fortress. They're the blockhouse. But if we don't get past that, we are not getting in there at all, I don't think. Estamos tan abiertos. Oh, so close. One more strike and he would have been dead for sure. So close, guys. No, we can't get in there with the cavalry. I was like, can we get in there with the cavalry? But unfortunately not. However, I'm going to keep trying to make the enemy life hell. Look at this. And I am just cutting off all of that supply. So again, not sure what's going to happen, but I'm going to keep testing the waters. It's not looking great there for us. No, we're going to back up a bit. What we will do is keep attacking over here. And keep streaming in over here with as many men as we can. All right, let's get some more units in there. Again, I'm just trying to fill in all of those gaps. I don't care if we put the other units in a dangerous position. The goal is just to fill these gaps in and destroy the rest of the enemy. There we go. Starting to flee a little bit. And despite us not really needing to reinforce these guys, they're pretty strong. I want all of these units to be extremely strong. So anybody that can be reinforced and hasn't moved, we are going to reinforce them. With the exception being these cavalry units, they just don't do so well out here in the jungle. So we could actually probably cut off that general at Estero Rojas. That's going to be my goal here. That's just a really dangerous location, that area there at Yatati Kora. We're not breaking through it. It is not going to happen. Look at the range on these cannons, man. Alright, I think that's as far as we're going to go this turn, unfortunately. Let's end it. I mean, we're still off to a good start. I would have liked to push additional units through here. There we go. Argentine Federalist Juan de Dios Videla leads a mutiny of soldiers en route to Paraguay. So this is what happens. Videla overthrows Mendoza's Unitarian governor Arroyo, seizing control of the province. Things are going to start falling apart for our Argentinian allies. And this is why, instead of playing as Paraguay, which would have been like an entirely defensive campaign, I decided to go with the Triple Alliance, because it's not as simple as just like 3 countries versus 1, you know. This was a brutal war for all sides. Of course, Paraguay lost in the end, but this was vicious on all sides. And there we go, a huge Argentinian regiment devastated there. One of our amphibious landing regiments. At least they fought bravely. Federalist Colonel Carlos Juan Rodriguez denounces President Mitra's government and the Paraguayan War. President Mitra orders Colonel Julio Campos to crush the Federalist rebellion. And this is where, either this turn or next turn, they're going to start taking troops out of our Argentine army there. The growing Federalist rebellion in the western provinces is quickly emerging as a critical threat to the government. In order to suppress the rebels, it has become necessary to withdraw thousands of soldiers currently serving in Paraguay. These withdrawals will occur at the end of this turn and will reduce the strength of all Argentine units in Paraguay by approximately half. I therefore advise that control of key positions be turned over to Brazilian forces to ensure that the withdrawal does not compromise our position. That's rough, right? Pretty rough, but unfortunately, it's the situation we find ourselves in right now. And thankfully, we have mostly Brazilian units. Brazil is, you know, the majority of the units here, but that doesn't mean much. And you can see the strength of that fortress is back to full strength. I'm going to make them pay for that. Get rid of the blockhouse. You bastards! Alright. We're still going to get in through the blockhouse. I don't give a damn. We're going to get it one way or the other. Just means that we're going to have to do it a little slower than I was expecting. But I'm going to continue sending forces over here to cut the enemy off. Here we go. And again, the goal here is just to encircle the enemy. You guys know the story here. Tale as old as time. Somebody quotes a fucking Disney film, I'm gonna lose my mind. Let's push through here. Boom. Alright, again, just surrounding them, making sure that they have no room to move at all. We can also get additional units there for the Oriental Brigade. We have to say, the Oriental Brigade for Uruguay, pretty much being Uruguay's only unit, is so good. It's an exceptional unit. Moving right through there. I would like to get a unit at Chuhi, but I can wait. Me too. But, you know, actually, after seeing this campaign, this reconstruction of the war itself, I'm not that surprised. And the reason being, when you look at all of the water, like all of the marshland here, the very, very tight land bridges, like really small land bridges, it almost kind of reminds me of the Florida Keys, where it's just like loosely connected. And they also have these like incredible defenses and the largest fort in South America, Humaita. I'm not too surprised. It's going to sound weird, but, like, you know what Paraguay kind of reminds me of is, like, the Albania of South America. You know, during the Cold War, Albania got like a ridiculous amount of bunkers. When I was visiting Albania, I was really young, like 11 or 12, but there were like bunkers everywhere. And I would imagine that Paraguay was very similar at this time period, at this particular time. Obviously, this isn't the Cold War, but during the Napoleonic era, where, yeah, there was just a lot of defenses, a lot of forts, new weapons, etc. And Paraguay sort of took advantage of that. And again, this was not a war that was accepted by all. It was denounced by a lot of other South American countries that did not agree with Brazil and Argentina attacking. They still have that general there? Okay. Prisionero. We're going to take a Reskian prisoner for sure. I think it's best for us to hold on to Chuhi just because it seems to be an important location. Would be great if we could get this unit in this turn, but we're going to have to wait till next turn, unfortunately. I will see if we can purchase some additional brigades, and we definitely want to focus on just Brazil for now. Duas brigadas. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I really do think so, though, just because of the defensive structures they built and how a country as small as Paraguay was able to hold off Argentina and Brazil and Uruguay for a long time, you know, a lot longer than they should have. And those explosions you hear, guys, that is, of course, our Argentinian units heading back. Chilean revolutionary Felipe Varela enters Argentina and proclaims a revolution of the Colorados. Oh, no. A lot of troops are going to have to go back for that, that's for sure. Vamos a acabar con esta revolución, por favor. And there we go, another one of our units. 2 of our landing units shattered, destroyed in the fighting. But without them, we would not have gotten this far. Without them, we wouldn't have broken through here at Sauce or Chichi. We just would have stayed there across the river, unable to move. So we do have to keep on using those amphibious tactics. Now, at some point, like in Kuruzu over here, it's going to be kind of tough to even use those tactics, but we're going to have to do our best. And there we go. That's what I like to see. Enemy is starting to suffer attrition losses. That is a good day for me. Bullet. ¿Qué pasa? Let's give the glory to the cavalry here. Send in the 5th Cavalry Regiment, and beautiful. Gonna finish off the guys here in the pocket. And this is perfect. This is shooting fish in a barrel is what it is. Send in the Oriental Brigade. It's been a long time since they've gotten into some combat. Obviously, they need a little bit of practice. And I'm just going to watch Reskin here. I'm not going to attack or anything like that. In fact, I'll reinforce our Argentinian Brigade here. But I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on him. I guess we could strike with the infantry. Just weaken him a bit. Unless he's getting supply from the river there, I think we've got him trapped. They put up a pretty good fight there. And of course, I'm going to start moving those generals across. Do the same with the artillery. Probably should have moved the artillery across first, but that's okay. Not going to lose any sleep over it. And some additional landing units here. So I'm going to focus on the infantry. I'm ignoring the blockhouse entirely here. Might have to wait till next turn. These guys are looking a little worse for wear. even at a strength of 9, they can't fight back. And it's a pretty good indicator that those guys are cut off. But as you can see, a lot of territory we've got to grab. We're still moving through the jungle there, just grabbing whatever we see fit. I'll take Stero Belaco, excuse me. So just an additional little village there. And over time, if you also look at like the mini map here at the bottom, you could see us taking over, you know, Paraguay little by little. I guess like right now we have about a fifth of the country, and really the most productive area of the country. Once you start going north, things start getting a little less productive. However, it's where they have some very strong forts. Humaita really is the most productive area of the entire country. A human Paraguay player would have pulled those troops out to the next line. Exactly, yeah, definitely. You know, one game where I find the AI to be exceptional, one of the recent games we played, is Second Front. I'm really impressed by it. It seems like anytime I play it, the AI is sort of like aware of what I'm going to try before I even try it. And it always seems to play a little bit differently. So I really appreciate that sort of play style. Oh, look at that. Well, the next time we can get a shot, it looks like we could pretty much destroy the blockhouse. So that's the first HQ unit we managed to get out there. Shame on me. We can end the turn right there and just see what Paraguay does here. Admiral Tamandare, commander of the Brazilian Navy, is relieved of command. I don't think it's going to affect us, but we'll see. Again, these countries, these superpowers, had their own problems going on during this war. So it wasn't as simple as beating Paraguay. It was, you know, also having to deal with their own internal conflicts. And they are falling back to that second defensive line. Most of them are, anyway. The Curupati defensive line. The Colorado rebels defeat Campos at the Battle of Riconcada del Porcito. We'll see what happens. One less blockhouse. And actually, I'm glad because we now can bring in this general. We needed another general for our forces here, although these are mostly Argentinian. Interestingly enough, most of our landing forces were Argentine landing forces. Gotta stop saying Argentinian. It's Argentine. Shame on me. There we go. Beautiful. And we also got a 200 fighting spirit bonus, so that's very helpful. Just gonna go ahead and move on through there. Some of our units here clearly need some reinforcements. So they're going to have another very strong defensive line there. And then a fourth defensive line over here. And this defensive line near Humaita, you can see it's even stronger. It's like a double trench line, whereas this is just a single trench line. But the goal here, we've got to get those generals close because we're going to have to reinforce a lot of units here. We're going to have to give these guys 1 or even 2 turns to rest up. And get ready for another attack. But I want to take Yatati Kora first, so that we can say we completely overcame those defenses. Alright, guys. Well, the first stage of the war is complete. Again, passing through Paso de Patria all the way up here to Chichi. And I think, of course, our next focus is going to be Kupati Kuruzu, and then up to the final fortress of Humaita. I'm thinking we could probably take some of our troops going through the jungle here and hit them from the east, but I feel like this isn't going to be enough to really make a difference. I think we're going to need to bring over maybe like 3 or 4 brigades and really just send them through the jungle, basically, along those roads. As long as they stay on the roads and have that supply line, they should be able to survive the jungle for the most part and cut in from the east. However, there is an outbreak of yellow fever coming. That's right. We've got a lot to deal with. I'm telling you, the Triple Alliance didn't have it easy, man. We're going to have to deal with a yellow fever outbreak, which is going to cut down our army significantly. I think it's like 25% of our army gets destroyed. All of our army. And it's not just the Argentinians. It's the Brazilians. It's the Uruguayans. everybody takes a hit from serious illnesses like that. And yeah, you can see this defensive line is getting pretty rough. So what I think we're going to do, just like we did over here, we're going to do those amphibious landings. But these amphibious landings are going to have to cut north and unfortunately go past some very dangerous ground. So I'm just going to send... Oh, no, that's an HQ unit. Let me get him over here. I don't want to send an HQ unit here, but the next infantry unit, I'm going to drop him here and just sort of scout the area south of Kuruzu. Just with a single one of our units. Another thing we can do is get up close and personal with our ironclads and try and destroy those forts from a distance. But of course, we risk losing our ironclads, and I'm not exactly looking forward to that. That being said, if you want to see the conclusion of this campaign, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to just go ahead and put here conclusion, so that we can come back to this and do a part 2 or something like that. One of the biggest issues on YouTube that's really frustrating is like when we name things the same thing. So when it's like Strategic Command Wars in the Americas Part 2, YouTube hates that. Like they just put us at the bottom of the search list. I've had so many people say like, hey, why didn't you make an episode 2 for this? It's like, it's right here. I did make an episode 2. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll make sure to come back and finish this war. I have no doubt we can get a victory, but it could be a serious Pyrrhic victory, and if we don't do it within the time frame, we will lose. Although I think we can ignore places like Timbo and Forte de Araca. I really think we just need to take Humaita and maybe Establecimento. This is sort of like their secondary capital. But taking Curupati would be huge. We've already broke through some very serious defenses, and certainly paid a heavy price doing it. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. A big thumbs up to you guys. I hope you'll pay me back with one in return, and I'll see you on the next one.